The observation deck of the Hegemony Research Station Zenith 7 offered an unobstructed view of the cosmic phenomenon known as the Cascade, a massive energy rift that separated the explored galaxy from the unknown regions beyond. Senior researcher Kolth pressed his three-fingered hand against the transparent alloy, watching the swirling purple and gold energies dance across the void. For 8,000 years, the Cascade had been impenetrable, a natural barrier that even the Hegemony's most advanced technology could not breach. Until today. Kolth, we have confirmation, announced his assistant Vril, her crystalline skin refracting the station's blue lighting. The human vessel has entered the Cascade and vanished from all sensors. Kolth turned sharply. Vanished? Not destroyed. No sir, the energy signature simply disappeared. No debris, no distortion patterns, nothing. It's as if they slipped between the waves themselves. Impossible, Kolth muttered, moving to the sensor display. The Cascade's energy fluctuations operate at frequencies that destroy molecular bonds. We've sent 47 unmanned probes through over the centuries. None survived more than 3.7 seconds. Vril pulled up the human ship's last recorded data. The vessel was designated Pioneer 7, sir. Human design, approximately 200 meters in length. The interesting part is what we detected before they entered. What? Their ship was emitting a counter-frequency pattern, something our computers couldn't model. It appeared to be cancelling out the Cascade's destructive harmonics. Kolth stared at the data in disbelief. The Hegemony had thousands of scientists working on the Cascade problem for millennia. They had concluded it was unsolvable, a fundamental law of physics that could not be circumvented. And yet these humans, a species that had only achieved faster than light travel 50 years ago, had apparently done the impossible. Send a priority message to the High Council, Kolth ordered. The humans have either discovered something revolutionary or they've just committed spectacular suicide. We need to know which. 3 days passed with no sign of the human vessel. The Hegemony's ruling council grew increasingly concerned. Humans had been granted limited exploration rights in Hegemony space after proving themselves capable of FTL travel, but they were considered technologically inferior, interesting but not threatening. This changed everything. On the 4th day, sensors detected something emerging from the Cascade, not from the side the humans had entered, but from the opposite side, the unexplored region beyond. It was Pioneer 7, intact and transmitting. Kolth nearly dropped his data pad when the image appeared on the main screen. The human ship looked unchanged, not a scratch on its hull. A human face appeared in the communication window. This is Captain Sarah Chen of the Earth vessel Pioneer 7. We have successfully traversed the Cascade and mapped the region beyond. We are requesting permission to dock at Zenith 7 to share our findings. Kolth found his voice after a moment. Captain Chen, this is Senior Researcher Kolth. Permission granted. We are extremely interested in understanding how you survived passage through the Cascade. Captain Chen smiled slightly. We didn't survive it, researcher. We avoided it entirely. Avoided it? Vril asked before Kolth could respond. The Cascade fills the entire dimensional space in that region. There's nowhere to avoid it. Not in normal space, agreed Captain Chen. But quantum mechanics suggests that particles can exist in multiple states simultaneously until observed. We simply applied that principle to the macro scale. The research team stared at the screen in stunned silence. What Captain Chen was describing was theoretically possible in quantum physics, but no one had ever successfully applied quantum superposition to anything larger than a few atoms. Captain Chen, Kolth said carefully, are you claiming your ship existed in a quantum superposition state while traversing the Cascade? Captain Chen nodded. Essentially, yes. We were both in the Cascade and not in the Cascade simultaneously. The destructive energies couldn't affect us because we weren't fully there in any measurable way. That's absurd, interrupted Research Director Mulvax, who had been listening from the High Council chambers. The decoherence effect would collapse your superposition state instantly. The mass of your ship alone would make quantum effects impossible at that scale. You're right that it should be impossible, Captain Chen replied calmly. We had to solve several fundamental problems in quantum mechanics to make it work. Our breakthrough came from mathematics, specifically from topology and abstract algebra. Humans have always excelled at pure mathematics. Mathematics, Malvax scoffed. We are discussing quantum engineering, not theoretical exercises. Captain Chen's expression remained patient. Director, in the Hegemony's approach to science, you master physics first, then apply mathematics to describe what you observe. Humans took the opposite path. We developed the mathematics first, then engineered reality to match our equations. Before Malvax could respond, Kolth interrupted. Captain Chen, we would very much like to understand your methods. Would you be willing to share your findings? We're prepared to offer a full technical briefing, replied Captain Chen. In fact, we're hoping to establish a collaborative research program. Humanity believes that combining hegemony engineering expertise with human mathematical approaches could benefit both our peoples. Hours later, Captain Chen and her chief science officer, Dr. Marcus Webb, stood in Zenith 7's main conference room before an assembly of the Hegemony's greatest scientific minds. Dr. Webb activated a holographic display showing what appeared to be impossibly complex mathematical notations. The foundation of our quantum traversal system, he began, rests on a branch of mathematics called category theory. Specifically, we used higher dimensional topological constructs to model quantum states as geometric objects rather than probability functions. One of the Hegemony scientists, a tall being with 4 eyes named Quester Thon, leaned forward. This notation, I don't recognize half these symbols. They're from a mathematical framework we call abstract homotopy type theory, DR. Webb explained. It allows us to treat quantum superposition not as a state of uncertainty, but as a definite position in a higher dimensional mathematical space. Think of it like this, Captain Chen added, stepping forward. Your scientists see the cascade as an energy field that destroys matter. We saw it as a wave function that could be mathematically transformed. The transformation required us to temporarily shift our ship into a mathematical space where the cascade's destructive properties were undefined. You're saying you moved your ship into pure mathematics? Kolth asked incredulously. Not literally, Dr. Webb clarified. We created a quantum field around the ship that encoded its physical properties as mathematical relationships rather than physical states. The cascade couldn't destroy what wasn't physically present in the normal sense. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. If humans could apply mathematical abstraction to physical reality at this level, they had access to a form of technology the Hegemony had never even conceptualized. Quester Thon spoke up, his voice measured. This is remarkable work, but I must ask. How did a species as young as yours develop such advanced mathematical frameworks? We've been doing abstract mathematics for centuries, Captain Chen replied. While the Hegemony was building its civilization through engineering and practical physics, humanity was in a unique position. We were trapped on a single planet, unable to reach the stars for most of our history. So we developed our minds instead. Dr. Webb continued, humans have a saying, necessity is the mother of invention. We couldn't build starships, so we built conceptual frameworks. We couldn't manipulate energy fields, so we manipulated mathematical spaces. We learned to solve problems theoretically that we couldn't solve practically. It made us very good at abstract thinking. Research Director Malvax, attending via holographic projection, finally spoke. I acknowledge your achievement is impressive. However, I remain skeptical that mathematical theory alone could produce such results. There must be engineering components we're not seeing. Of course, agreed Captain Chen. The mathematics gave us the roadmap, but we still needed engineering to follow it. Would you like to see the Pioneer 7's quantum core? The Hegemony scientists practically leaped at the opportunity. An hour later, They stood in the Pioneer 7's engineering section, staring at what could only be described as the most unusual spacecraft component they had ever seen. The quantum core, Dr. Webb explained, gesturing to a spherical chamber filled with what appeared to be cascading streams of light. Doesn't look like much of a power source, observed Vril. That's because it's not a power source in the traditional sense, replied Dr. Webb. It's a quantum state processor. It doesn't generate energy. It redefines the relationship between the ship and the universe around it. Kolth approached the sphere cautiously, his instruments scanning rapidly. The readings, they're contradictory. The device simultaneously registers as matter, energy, and something else I can't even classify. That's the quantum superposition at work, Captain Chen said. The core exists in multiple states because we designed it that way. The mathematics dictates that it must be uncertain to function. Quester Thon was frantically taking notes. The implications of this technology extend far beyond traversing the Cascade. If you can put matter into controlled quantum superposition at macro scales, the applications are endless. Exactly, Dr. Webb nodded. We've only begun to explore the possibilities. Quantum superposition means existing in multiple states simultaneously. Applied to space travel, it means being in multiple locations at once. Applied to defense, it means being simultaneously solid and intangible. Applied to computing, it means processing all possible solutions to a problem at the same time. The room fell into another stunned silence. What the humans were describing wasn't just advanced technology. It was a fundamental restructuring of how technology could work. As the tour continued, Captain Chen noticed Kolth deep in thought, his translator device struggling to keep up with his rapid murmuring calculations. Is something wrong, researcher? Kolth looked up, his large eyes wider than usual. Captain, I've been trying to understand your mathematics. I believe I'm beginning to grasp the basic concepts, but there's something troubling me. Continue. If your quantum core can put your ship into superposition allowing it to exist in multiple states, what prevents it from existing in states that are dangerous? What if during traversal, one of your quantum states was inside a star or a planet? Dr. Webb smiled. Excellent question. That's where the mathematics becomes truly critical. We use what we call boundary conditions, mathematical constraints that limit which quantum states are possible. Think of it like programming reality itself. We tell the universe, you can put our ship anywhere, except here, here, and here. Kolth's expression showed something between wonder and fear. You've essentially created a mathematical firewall against unwanted reality. Yes, Captain Chen confirmed. Though developing those boundary equations took us 15 years and the combined efforts of humanity's greatest mathematicians. One wrong equation and the ship could materialize inside a sun or scattered across a light-year of space. Over the following days, the collaborative research program began in earnest. Hegemony scientists brought their practical engineering expertise while human mathematicians provided theoretical frameworks. The combination proved more powerful than either side had anticipated. In one particularly productive session, Quester Thon was working with Dr. Webb on potential applications of quantum superposition to faster-than-light travel. Your current FTL drives fold space, correct? Dr. Webb asked. Yes, Quester Thon confirmed. We create a localized compression of space-time allowing ships to effectively travel faster than light without violating relativity. It's energy-intensive but reliable. What if, Dr. Webb proposed, sketching equations in the air with holographic light, instead of compressing space, you put the ship in quantum superposition with its destination? The ship would simultaneously be at point A and point B until observation collapses it to point B. Quester Thon studied the equations, his four eyes widening progressively. The energy requirements would be a fraction of our current FTL drives. But the navigation, how would you target a specific destination? Mathematics, Dr. Webb grinned. You encode the destination coordinates as quantum constraints. The ship exists in superposition of all possible locations, but the boundary conditions only allow collapse at the target destination. The concept is we're teaching reality to do the navigation for us. Meanwhile, in another lab, Vril was discussing defensive applications with Captain Chen. Our shield technology, Vril explained, projects energy fields that absorb or deflect incoming attacks. It's effective but energy-intensive. What if shields didn't need to block attacks, Captain Chen suggested, but instead shifted into quantum superposition when struck? An energy weapon hits your shield and finds it both there and not there simultaneously. The weapon's energy disperses across multiple quantum states, effectively dissipating harmlessly. Vril's crystalline skin flickered rapidly, a sign of excitement in her species. You're describing a defense that becomes stronger the more it's attacked because each attack creates more quantum branches to dissipate energy across. Exactly. The mathematics determines how many branches are created and how the energy distributes. It's not a shield that blocks, it's a shield that becomes undefined until the attack passes. As weeks passed, word of the human hegemony collaboration spread throughout the galaxy. Most species were fascinated. Others grew concerned. The warlord Dominion, a militant empire that had long coveted hegemony technology, was among the concerned. In the war chamber of the Dominion flagship Devastator, Supreme Commander Crack studied intelligence reports on the human collaboration. His armor clinked as he gestured aggressively at the displays. These humans are giving the hegemony access to reality warping technology, he growled. If the hegemony masters quantum superposition, they'll be unstoppable. His tactical advisor, General Vorik, nodded grimly. Our spies report the hegemony is already developing new weapons based on human mathematical principles. Weapons that exist in multiple states simultaneously, that can bypass our shields by not being fully real when they strike. Krax's fist slammed on the table. Then we eliminate the source. The humans must be destroyed before they make the hegemony too powerful. But Supreme Commander, Vorik cautioned, the humans are under hegemony protection. An attack on them would mean war with the hegemony. Krax's eyes narrowed. Then we'll make it look like an accident. The Cascade is dangerous. Ships get lost there all the time. Who's to say what really happened to a small human vessel? Days later, Pioneer 7 prepared for another expedition through the Cascade, this time escorted by 2 hegemony research vessels. They planned to establish a permanent monitoring station on the far side. As the small fleet approached the Cascade, Captain Chen reviewed the mission parameters with her crew. The crossing should be routine, she said. We've made this trip 3 times now. Our quantum calculations are solid. Dr. Webb nodded from his station. All systems are green. Quantum core is maintaining stable superposition and boundary conditions are locked. Suddenly, alarms blared across the bridge. Captain, incoming hostile signatures, called out the tactical officer. 6 vessels, Dominion configuration, they're powering weapons. On screen, Captain Chen ordered. The view screen showed 6 sleek warships emerging from faster-than-light travel, their dark hulls bristling with weapons. They took up attack positions, effectively surrounding the small human hegemony flotilla. An angry face appeared on the communication channel, Supreme Commander Krax of the Dominion. Human vessel, you are hereby ordered to surrender your quantum technology to the Dominion. Refuse and we will destroy you and claim what remains from your wreckage. Captain Chen's expression hardened. Commander, we are conducting peaceful research under hegemony protection. Your attack would be an act of war. The hegemony is not here to protect you, human, Krax sneered. Only 2 small research vessels. By the time hegemony reinforcements arrive, you'll be debris floating in the Cascade. Open fire. The 6 Dominion warships unleashed their weapons simultaneously. Energy beams and missile salvos streaked toward Pioneer 7. On the bridge, Dr. Webb didn't wait for orders. Quantum core to full superposition, he called out. Boundary conditions set to defensive configuration Delta. The crew watched their sensors as something impossible happened. The incoming weapons appeared to hit their ship, but the damage readouts showed nothing. No hull breaches, no energy drain, nothing. What? Krax's voice stammered over the open channel. Impossible, our weapons showed direct hits. Captain Chen allowed herself a small smile. They did hit us, Commander. They just didn't hit us in a way that matters. Dr. Webb, care to explain to our aggressive friend what just happened? Dr. Webb's image appeared on the communication screen alongside Captain Chen. Commander, when your weapons struck our ship, our quantum core shifted us into a superposition state. Your weapons hit us in one quantum state while we existed fully in another. The energy dissipated harmlessly across multiple probability branches. Krax snarled. Quantum tricks, I've heard enough. All ships concentrate fire on a single point. Sustained barrage. The Dominion warships unleashed everything they had, focusing all firepower on the Pioneer 7's forward section. The space around the human ship lit up like a small star as energy beams and explosions converged. Inside Pioneer 7, the lights dimmed slightly as the quantum core drew more power. Superposition holding, reported the tactical officer. Boundary conditions stable, added Dr. Webb. The barrage continued for a full minute before Krax ordered a ceasefire. When the energy dissipated, Pioneer 7 floated unchanged, not even a scorch mark on its hull. Krax's face appeared again, now showing confusion mixed with rage. What are you? Mathematicians, replied Captain Chen simply. Commander, I'm going to give you one chance to withdraw peacefully. Krax laughed harshly. You have one ship. I have 6. You may have strange defenses, but you cannot harm us. Are you certain about that, Commander? Dr. Webb asked calmly. While you were attacking us, we were calculating. Our quantum core has been analyzing your ship's quantum signatures. Every piece of matter in the universe has a unique quantum state. We now know yours. On the Devastator's bridge, the tactical displays suddenly went haywire. Krax shouted. What's happening? The sensor officer's voice shook. Sir, our quantum states are changing, we're detecting impossible readings. Our ships are starting to exist in superposition, but we have no control over it. Dr. Webb's voice came through clearly. We're not attacking you, Commander. We're simply introducing uncertainty into your ship's quantum states. Right now, your vessels are simultaneously here and not here, functional and non-functional, armed and unarmed. The mathematics makes all these states equally probable. Make it stop, Krax demanded, his bravado crumbling. Dar. Webb looked at Captain Chen, who nodded slightly. We will, Commander, Dr. Webb said. On one condition, you leave immediately and never threaten human vessels again. The alternative is we collapse your quantum states in ways you won't enjoy. Your ships could materialize inside stars, scattered across light years, or simply cease to exist in any meaningful way. The mathematics is quite flexible. Krax stared at the human scientist, finally understanding the true horror of what humans had created. They hadn't just mastered quantum mechanics. They had learned to weaponize mathematics itself. Agreed, he said quietly. We're leaving. As the Dominion warships retreated in disorder, their quantum states slowly stabilizing, the Hegemony research vessels caught up to Pioneer 7. Researcher Kaltha's face appeared on the communication screen. Captain Chen, that was the most terrifying display of non-violent force I have ever witnessed. You could have destroyed those ships with a thought. Captain Chen nodded soberly. Yes, but destruction is easy. Teaching a lesson is harder and more valuable. The Dominion now knows that attacking human vessels is mathematically inadvisable. The incident was reported immediately to the High Council. Research Director Malvax addressed an emergency session, his holographic form pacing as he spoke. Honorable Council members, we must reconsider our assessment of human capabilities. What we witnessed was not merely advanced technology. It was the application of pure mathematics as a weapon, a tool, and a form of existence. We are not in danger. High Council Leader Venth said carefully. Captain Chen demonstrated remarkable restraint. Not danger, agreed Mulvax. But we face something more significant than threat. We face paradigm shift. For 8,000 years, the hegemony has led the galaxy through engineering excellence. Humans have shown us an entirely different path to power, one we never considered because it seemed too abstract, too theoretical. They have made the theoretical practical. One council member, Elder Sin, spoke up. What do you recommend, Director? Partnership, Mulvax said firmly. True partnership, not the limited cooperation we've shown so far. Humanity has offered to share their mathematical frameworks fully. We should accept and contribute our engineering expertise in return. The combination could advance both our peoples by millennia in mere decades. The Council voted unanimously to approve expanded collaboration. Over the following months, joint human hegemony research stations were established throughout the known galaxy. Mathematical concepts that humanity had developed over centuries were shared freely while the hegemony contributed their advanced engineering capabilities and millennia of practical experience. One particular breakthrough came from an unlikely collaboration. Quester Thon, working with a human mathematician named Dr. Lisa Zhang, developed what they called the quantum fold drive. Instead of compressing space or creating wormholes, the new drive put ships in quantum superposition with their destination. Dr. Zhang explained the concept to an assembly of scientists. Traditional FTL travel treats space as something to be crossed. We treat it as a quantum probability. The ship exists in a superposition of all possible locations between origin and destination. The navigation computer then collapses that superposition at the target coordinates. Quester Thon continued. The result is instantaneous travel across any distance. No time dilation, no energy buildup, no space-time stress. The ship is simply here and then there because the mathematics makes both states simultaneously true until we observe one. The practical testing proved successful. Ships equipped with quantum fold drives could cross the galaxy in the time it took to calculate the navigation equations. Trade, exploration, and communication between distant worlds became trivially easy. The Cascade, once an impenetrable barrier, became nothing more than another coordinate in the mathematical space of possibilities. As the technology spread, other species began to approach humanity, seeking to understand the mathematical principles behind these breakthroughs. Human mathematicians found themselves in high demand across the galaxy, teaching abstract algebra, topology, and quantum category theory to species who had never considered such theoretical frameworks. Captain Chen, now promoted to ambassador, stood before the Galactic Assembly addressing representatives from 200 species. Humanity's approach to science may seem unusual, she said. We spent centuries trapped on our world, unable to reach the stars. So we reached into mathematics instead. We explored spaces that existed only in abstract thought. We solved problems that had no physical form. But in doing so, we learned something valuable. Dr. Webb, now Director of Human Hegemony Cooperative Research, stood beside her. We learned that mathematics isn't just a tool to describe reality, he explained. Mathematics is reality at its most fundamental level. Physical laws are simply mathematical relationships made manifest. If you understand the mathematics deeply enough, you can rewrite the relationships. You can reprogram reality itself. The assembly listened with rapt attention as Dr. Webb continued. This is what human quantum technology really represents. It's not just advanced engineering. It's applied mathematics at a level where the distinction between theory and practice disappears. When our quantum core puts a ship in superposition, it's not fighting physics, it's using deeper mathematical truths that physics must obey. Ambassador Chen concluded, humanity offers this knowledge freely to all species. We believe that every civilization has unique strengths. The Hegemony's engineering, the Dominion's tactical thinking, the crystalline collective's energy manipulation, your species' unique approaches to problems we haven't even considered yet. Together, sharing our strengths, we can explore possibilities none of us could reach alone. The address marked a turning point in galactic civilization. The old model of technological supremacy gave way to collaborative advancement. Species that had been rivals found common ground in shared mathematical frameworks. The Dominion, humbled by their encounter with human quantum weapons, became eager participants in the research programs, contributing their sophisticated understanding of multi-dimensional warfare to the project of making quantum technology more robust. Years passed. The Human Hegemony Cooperative expanded to include dozens of species. Research stations appeared throughout the galaxy, each one pushing the boundaries of what mathematics made possible. They developed quantum computers that could solve problems by existing in superposition with all possible solutions simultaneously. They created communication systems that transmitted information instantaneously across any distance by entangling quantum states. They even began experimenting with temporal mechanics, using mathematics to redefine the relationship between past, present, and future. But the most significant breakthrough came from an unexpected source, a young human mathematician named David Park working with an elderly hegemony physicist named Researcher Thole. They were exploring the mathematics of consciousness itself. David explained their theory to a skeptical review board. Consciousness, he proposed, might be the universe's way of observing itself, collapsing quantum possibilities into definite reality. What if we could mathematically model consciousness? We could potentially put thought itself into superposition. Researcher Thole added, imagine a mind that could exist in multiple states simultaneously, thinking all possible thoughts at once, exploring every logical pathway before collapsing to a single conclusion. The implications for problem solving, for creativity, for understanding would be revolutionary. The board initially rejected the proposal as too dangerous. Putting physical matter in quantum superposition was one thing. Putting minds in superposition raised ethical concerns no one was prepared to address. But David and Thole continued their work quietly, developing the mathematical framework in their spare time. 2 years later, David approached Ambassador Chen with a working prototype. This, he said, gesturing to a device that looked like a simple headband, is a quantum consciousness amplifier. It puts the wearer's mind into limited superposition, allowing them to process multiple thought streams simultaneously. The effect is temporary, lasting only a few minutes, but in those minutes the wearer can explore hundreds of different problem-solving approaches. Ambassador Chen studied the device carefully. Have you tested it? On myself, David nodded. The experience is indescribable. I spent 3 minutes in quantum superposition and solved mathematical problems I'd been stuck on for years. It was like thinking with 1,000 minds at once, each exploring different possibilities, then bringing all that knowledge back together when the superposition collapsed. The risks? Chen asked. Minimal, according to our calculations, David replied. The boundary conditions prevent dangerous quantum states. The worst-case scenario is a mild headache when the superposition collapses. Thole and I have both used it dozens of times. After extensive ethical review and safety testing, the quantum consciousness amplifier was approved for limited use. Scientists using the device began making breakthrough after breakthrough. Complex problems that would have taken years to solve were resolved in minutes as researchers explored hundreds of solution paths simultaneously. The technology spread rapidly, but always with strict ethical guidelines. It couldn't be used to alter memories or personality. It couldn't be forced on anyone. It was simply a tool to temporarily expand human and alien consciousness into quantum space, allowing minds to work the way quantum computers did, considering all possibilities simultaneously. Ambassador Chen used the device once, during a particularly difficult diplomatic crisis. Multiple species were on the verge of war over resource disputes. Traditional negotiations had stalled. With the amplifier active, Chen's mind existed in superposition, simultaneously considering thousands of diplomatic approaches, cultural considerations, and compromise scenarios. When the superposition collapsed after 3 minutes, she had a solution that satisfied all parties, a creative compromise no one had considered because it required understanding too many simultaneous cultural perspectives. The crisis was averted and the quantum consciousness amplifier became a standard tool for diplomats, judges, and anyone facing complex decisions. But humanity's greatest contribution to the galaxy came not from any single technology, but from the philosophical shift they represented. Before humans, galactic civilization had followed a single path: master physics, build better engineering, expand through superior technology. Humans showed that there were other paths: master mathematics, reshape reality itself, expand through superior understanding. The galaxy didn't just gain new technology. It gained a new way of thinking about possibility itself. A decade after Pioneer 7's first passage through the Cascade, Ambassador Chen stood once more on the observation deck of Zenith 7. But now the station was vastly expanded, a joint research facility hosting scientists from 50 different species. The Cascade still swirled before her, beautiful and mysterious, but no longer impenetrable. Ships passed through it daily now, their quantum cores treating the deadly energy field as just another probability to be navigated. Dr. Webb joined her at the window. "Thinking about how far we've come?" he asked. Chen nodded. 10 years ago, we were seen as a primitive species. Now, we're teaching the galaxy how to rebuild reality using mathematics. It's humbling. Webb smiled. The Hegemony spent 8,000 years building an empire on engineering. We spent a few centuries trapped on Earth building an empire of thought. Different approaches, different strengths. That's what makes collaboration so powerful. A young researcher, a hybrid team of human and Hegemony students, approached them excitedly. "Ambassador Chen, Director Webb, you need to see this." They rushed to a nearby laboratory where the students had been working on quantum cosmology. The lead student, a human named James, explained breathlessly. "We were using quantum superposition principles to model the universe's evolution, and we found something incredible. The Big Bang wasn't a single event. It was a quantum superposition of all possible beginnings that collapsed into our universe when the first conscious observation occurred." Another student, a Hegemony native named Kix, continued. "The mathematics suggests our entire universe might still be in partial superposition. Every possible history, every alternate timeline, they all exist as quantum probability until observed and collapsed into definite reality." Dr. Webb stared at the equations covering the lab's display screens. "Are you saying reality itself is just collapsed mathematics? One possibility chosen from infinite superposition?" James nodded. "Exactly, and if we could learn to manipulate the universe's quantum state the way we manipulate a ship's state, we could potentially..." He trailed off, seeming almost afraid to continue. "Reshape reality at a cosmological scale," Ambassador Chen finished quietly. "Create new universes, alter physical laws, step outside our timeline entirely." The students nodded silently, the implications of their discovery weighing heavily on everyone in the room. "This," Dr. Webb said slowly, "is why we pursue knowledge collaboratively. Discoveries like this are too important, too dangerous, for any one species to handle alone." Ambassador Chen agreed. "We'll need to convene a full galactic assembly. Every species deserves input on whether we should even continue this research." The discovery led to months of debate across the galaxy. Some species argued for pursuing the research, claiming it could solve fundamental problems like entropy, resource scarcity, even death itself. Others argued it was too dangerous, that reshaping reality at a universal scale could destroy everything they knew. In the end, the decision was made to continue the research, but slowly, carefully, with oversight from all participating species. The mathematics would be studied, the theories developed, but no practical applications would be attempted until the galaxy as a whole agreed on appropriate safeguards. Ambassador Chen addressed the final assembly on the matter. Humanity came to the stars with a gift, she said. We brought mathematics as a tool to reshape reality. But with that gift comes responsibility. We cannot and will not pursue knowledge recklessly. Every breakthrough must be weighed against its consequences. Every new door we open must be examined before we step through. She paused, looking across the assembled representatives of 200 species. That is the lesson we humans learn the hard way on our own world. Power without wisdom leads to destruction. Technology without ethics leads to disaster. We offer you our mathematical frameworks, but more importantly, we offer you partnership in deciding how that knowledge should be used. The Assembly unanimously approved the proposal, establishing the Galactic Ethics Council for Advanced Research, a body composed of philosophers, scientists, and representatives from every known species. Their job would be to evaluate new discoveries and determine which paths of research should be pursued and which doors should remain closed, at least for now. Years continued to pass and the Human Hegemony Cooperative continued to grow. New technologies emerged regularly, always carefully vetted, always ethically reviewed. Quantum agriculture that put crops in superposition, yielding harvests from multiple probability branches simultaneously. Quantum medicine that could heal by collapsing diseased tissue into healthy quantum states. Quantum communication networks that made distance meaningless, connecting the galaxy as intimately as a single city. But perhaps the most profound change wasn't technological at all. It was cultural. The old model of the hegemony as a dominant power gave way to genuine cooperation. Species that had been subjects became partners. The Dominion, once aggressive and militant, found new purpose in contributing their strategic thinking to peaceful endeavors. The Crystalline Collective shared their unique perspective on energy manipulation, complementing human mathematics with insights no other species could have developed. Every species discovered they had something valuable to contribute, and the galaxy grew stronger for its diversity. The Pioneer 7, now a museum piece docked permanently at Zenith 7, served as a reminder of where it all began. Students from dozens of species toured the ship, learning about the first human vessel to traverse the Cascade, to demonstrate quantum superposition at macro scales, to reshape what was possible. Captain Chen, now retired from active diplomacy, sometimes gave tours herself. She would stand in the ship's small bridge and tell the story of that first journey into the Cascade, of the fear and excitement, of not knowing if the mathematics would hold, of emerging on the other side and proving that reality itself could be reprogrammed if you understood the equations deeply enough. The students always asked the same question. How did you know it would work? And Chen always gave the same answer. We didn't know, we believed. Believed in the mathematics, believed in human ingenuity, believed that the universe operates on logical principles that can be understood and applied. Sometimes belief is enough. One evening, as the last tour group left, Chen stood alone on the Pioneer 7's bridge. Dr. Webb found her there, staring out at the Cascade, still swirling with its beautiful, deadly energy. Miss it? He asked. Every day, Chen replied. The excitement of not knowing what's possible. Now we know so much. Sometimes I wonder if we've lost something in gaining all this knowledge. Webb considered this. Maybe, but we've also gained something irreplaceable. We've proven that different species, different approaches, different ways of thinking can work together to achieve things none of us could do alone.